Welcome to part 21 of my playthrough of Avengers on the PS5. Hopefully you've been enjoying watching me play it. If you have, like, comment, subscribe. Without further ado, let's get back to it.
Alright. This got me better. Hey. Every night, and I alone. I don't know the words yet, but I'm gonna learn them. Hey, let's give me a little bit. Hey, wait a minute. Nope, we gotta go back. You know, when I really like something, I go back and I don't even care where we go. That's enough. I've heard more than enough. The album's gotta be fire. Let's go ahead and just get right back into some more of the Silk Sonic. Go ahead and drop a comment if you know this group very well. If you've heard the album and you know that I need to hear something from the album, let me know. Hit the like button while you're down there. Please share this. And then while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that stubby button so you can come on back to your boy. This girl got me paying her rent. All I know is she got all these kids running around my house like it's Chuck E. Cheese. Talk to him, Bruno. Oh, this is fire. This group right there. Oh, yeah. I need to lock them up. Area 51. They sound way too good. They sound like... Oh,
Intel provided by our friends at S.H.I.E.L.D. has revealed the location of an elite AIM squad. We have an opportunity to take them out before AIM can deploy the squad against the resistance. This is a quick hit-and-run operation. Take out the targets and return to us unharmed if possible. An elite AIM team is close by and on alert. Updating your HUD.
Although the MCU's Infinity Saga has recently come to an end with Iron Man's sacrifice and Thanos' seemingly unlikely defeat, it is fair to say that a lot of people want to see their favorite characters come back, and one of them is definitely Thor, the Chad Thunder God, who went for the head within Avengers PS5. One question that is frequently brought up regarding this character is, how strong, fast, and durable is he really? Well, I decided to analyze the movies, guidebooks, art books, and other things that I spent a lot of money on instead of buying anime figures, to decipher how overpowered Thor truly is. Without further ado, let's dive right in. This might hurt. Rather young for his age standards. Thanks to his godly genetics, he has strength allowing him to live there around there. He has speed, and durability, and is well versed in many forms of combat. This was an overpowered gladiator Hulk who had trained for the equivalent of, well, 100,000 years on Sakaar, given by how 10 to 20 seconds in the outside world equated to a few weeks if we take Loki's words to a T. Even among the elite guards, the Valkyries, or the Warriors 3, Thor is by far the strongest warrior in the mystical land and eventually surpasses Father Odin, who was stated as being able to defeat entire armies with the slightest accident, and as having earth-shattering power in the art books. Due to his excellent combat prowess, he was granted a mystical known as Mjolnir, or Jonathan, according to Paul Rudd, who we should protect at all costs. For a long time, Thor believed that it was the source of his power, but in fact, he
Every
always
member of
had
the
that
elite
power
team must be
and just
defeated.
needed the hammer to channel it. He was not the god of hammers, but the god of thunder. Once he realized this, he managed to surpass his father and become the new king of Asgard for a time. When trying to prevent Loki from wreaking havoc on the frost giants, they to repair. It might not seem like that, but
Another agent down. Well done. That squad member has been neutralized.
To affect it on a massive scale. This is really important because characters like Hela, who slapped all of the Valkyries and was banished by Odin, considered the Casket of Winners to be utter trash and thought that the Tesseract
Good
and
job,
Infinity Stone
Avengers.
was not
With
bad
this
in
victory,
comparison.
you've weakened
Meaning that
AIM
Hela,
and given the
Surtur,
Resistance a
and by
leg up.
Thanos
Keep it
go
up.
well above individual Infinity Stones. Although Thor was able to contend with Hela, he was unable to stop her within Thor Ragnarok, but he clearly surpassed her once he obtained a Stormbreaker, which in itself has its own insane scaling, as we'll touch up on. In fact, we don't even have to go that far to continental to planetary threats. Regarding the Tesseract, within multiple times that the cube could destroy
Avengers,
the planet, and
our
that there
agents in the
wasn't a
field have
minimum safe
identified the
distance.
location of an
On
AIM.
top of that, multiple guidebooks such as the Avengers Initiative and the Character Encyclopedia refer to the Tesseract and other Infinity Stones as having unlimited or outright limitless power.
AIM has a set of
In
turbines
general,
powering one of their
Infinity Stones
emergency
are stated to
generators.
having power beyond
Disable
human
them.
comprehension, to be truth itself, and have infinite, if not nearly infinite, levels of energy. This makes sense given that the Ether, aka the Reality Stone, in tandem with the Convergence, would have been able to affect the universe and purge all of the life within it. The Ether in itself is powerful enough to destroy planets, affect the 9 realms as stated in one of the comic book tie-ins to the MCU, and the Power Stone was going to be used by Ronan to destroy Xandar. So what I'm trying to get at here is that the Casket of Winners already had multi-continental to planetary ranges of energy, and was significantly crashed compared to the Infinity Stone. In regards to the Ether, how it manifested all of the power into it, he was closer on the endless universe that given that Thor was able to react to his attacks and was able to damage him, and at one point managed to shatter it, although it did, reform afterwards, but he was confident that he could have taken it down. So a pre-Stormbreaker Thor should easily be within the multi-continental planetary zone of attack potency. Attacks from this rather than have spikes to win in the end, he was able to contend with an Infinity Stone and Power Blade. Regarding the Convergence, I know some people are bringing up that, universal convergence, but not really. It did not amplify the power. It was amplifying the range and rate of function. In other words, the Ether by itself was capable of creating entire universe in darkness, but it would simply take longer and be harder to do so without the Convergence. Thanks to Ultron alongside Iron Man's assistance, he was able to crush apart a massive chunk of the country's Sokovia, which threatened a global extinction event. Thor's durability is crazy, because after he was weakened after getting his ass beat by Thanos, he was able to withstand the explosion of a ship that withstood the Devil's Anus, a wormhole implied to be a collapsing neutron star. Plus, he took multiple hits on Mjolnir, which managed to pretty much two-shot beings such as King Longbeak, who had contested with and briefly hurt a younger Prime Odin. Despite not being able to defeat Thanos at the beginning of Infinity War, Thor decided to come back with a weapon capable of doing so, called the Stormbreaker, which was forged in Nidavellir, a legendary forge with a Dyson sphere that even Rocket was impressed by, who, by the way, could create weapons weapons like the Hadron Enforcer that we saw in the first Guardians of the Galaxy
Destroy the
that could
turbine.
shatter runes, as stated in the guidebooks, and he could even create bombs powerful enough to cripple Ego's core. So even these
AIM has sent forces to stop
weapons
you.
were thought of by the game as not being powerful enough to defeat Thanos even prior to obtaining the other stone. Yet Thor's weapon could still solidly slice his head apart. Thanos is really insane because the biggest threat that the Avengers have to face. He's around planetary towers trying to destroy Asgard, a planetary body which is more durable and would be harder to destroy than Earth, according to Marvel Archive. Also, Thanos is long range from someone else that he was able to handle the Tesseract. That's huge. By Bruce Banner, over 180 meaning that in order to destroy the Tesseract, one would need enough raw power or energy projection times above the rest of the temperature power of. In other words, Thor's Stormbreaker is more than Thanos, who is literally unaffected by crushing the Tesseract. So it's a scale of Tesseract itself,
Disable the turbine.
amount of time. He was helping with the energy and constant and lightning one. Which allows given that just one was capable of affecting and ripping apart the entire universe multiple times, and I mean, because powers or monsters, it might be an extra speed outside of time. I think it is fair to say that a complete gauntlet of Thanos was entirely as stated in Endgame. In fact, as we saw in What If, a stone should effectively be capable of multiple planets and galaxies, and then now, hold on, I'm not saying that Thor is in a universe or a galaxy, but he was able to overpower the energy range to do so. In other words, I can argue that Thor has much higher attack potency than planetary levels.
Give me a second.
Personally, I don't want to jump the gun, but I do find it to be plausible in a way. We do have to keep in mind that it was stated that the weapons forged by the Star were a terror to the universe and would make mortal minds go mad and feel overwhelmed. And I mean, Thanos not really wanting to prevent his power because, I mean, he had been fighting beforehand. He went up against Thrag and he just, like, basically just grabbed him by the neck and just threw him and was like, you're a nuisance, dude. Like, get out of here, fodder, you know, basically. And then there's, like, a 5-year time skip, and when Omni-Man fights Thrag at the very end, although he still loses, he pulls up a much better fight against him, and his headbutt actually does a lot more damage.
Stop sleeping on the job!
And Thrag even praised him, like, the game sounds pretty impressive, you know, that fight, you know, stuff like that. And he even said, in my absence, like, you were, like, the rightful ruler, right? And he does associate, like, the title of, like,
I'm not being too loud, am I?
Right? And obviously, shattering a planet is a lot less, like, impressive than Fate. It's just really, like,
need some medical attention.
not to mention because they had been fighting prior to that, and they even traveled there. But basically, they're basically, you know, raised a continent, or they have even been implied to be planet destroyers, and one of them even
Nicely
like
done,
a
Avengers.
reality destroyer.
You wreaked some impressive havoc,
there's, like, this
and now
alternate
AIM is scrambling to recover their
plot
lost
dude
research.
named, the Reaver,
More
who
attacks
was
like
stated as
this, and
being able
AIM
to, like,
won't stay
turn
in
worlds
power
into
long.
dust and basically make them into husk, you know, dry husk. So, you know, life wiping. And in their battle, they did shatter like a moon. So, that's still pretty significant. There were also these two villains named Thoth and Set, and they were stated that, you know, in their battles they would devastate planets. They would also, like, basically, you know, life wipe them. And Thoth actually says that, like, as his brother, like, drained the power of them, he would build up enough energy to, like, destroy planets. Now, we don't know if they mean, like, they would literally bust it, you know, shatter it or whatever, or if they would just, you know, wipe out all life on Earth. Then there is this character named Tech Jacket that helps out the Coalition to fight the Viltrumites, and although he wasn't powerful enough to, like, heavily damage or kill a Viltrumite, he was still able to hold his own against them and, you know, make them bleed a little bit. But he was able to defeat this dude named Null, who basically one-shotted this huge Galactus-like being, who was stated as being like a, you know, world eater. So, once again, there is like that planetary scaling element there, and, you know, these guys don't even scale to a full-powered Viltrumite. In the novels that Nolan made, you know, to basically, like, do retellings of his adventures in space, he names this guy called the Space Rider or Space Racer, and he says that his Infinity Ray or Infinity Gun is so powerful that it could literally blow through planets and stars. And the crazy thing is that Omni-Man beat, like, the Space Rider early on, and when, you know, he and Alan go recover him, he's like, oh, you failed to kill me, you know? So I kind of take that as implication that he got shot by that before and it didn't work. But then again, Omni-Man does, like, show caution, you know, he's like, he doesn't want to get shot because Space Racer's gun is so nasty that it literally could heavily injure and kill Viltrumites. And I would honestly say that he's, like, one of the strongest characters because that gun is mad OP. So,
Hill here. We found a facility where AIM is
possibly,
preparing to spin up another fake arc reactor. We all know how well...
I think that it could be used to argue that Omni-Man...
The arc reactor's
could, you know,
nearby.
withstand
Jarvis,
a
are you picking up
powerful
anything?
attack that could,
Locked on and ready, Commander Hill.
Good luck out there.
And that is not even counting, like, all of these the power that he got, not only from training, but also from getting heavily injured in battle. That happened a lot. So, you know, Viltrumites can also kind of get nighttime use.
Early on, there's other
of stuff like
An elite AIM team is close by and on
When he first
alert.
came in the series, he was shown
Updating your HUD.
just stopping by on accident by a star and saving a ship from the like full gravitational pull of the star and just throwing them away and being like, y'all are dumb, don't do that again. And he just kept it moving, right? And then when he pulled up on Mark, and this is very early on, and Mark hit him, Alan was like, yeah, if that was your dad, he would have one-shot me. Like you said, the racer, at least playing it to star level range was said, and it wouldn't make sense that Omni-Man would lie about his power, because the Viltrumites are so famous and so renowned anyway, he doesn't need the extra clout with all the other feats they do. I mean, literally each punch was compared from a fodder Viltrumite to genocide. Just wiping out races. That's it. Like, they're already known, even after a virus that wipes most of them out, as like a terror to the universe. So that fact right there kind of helps with the downplay that comes from OP. That's how it asks people to their anatomy when it comes to combat. For example, with their atoms, themselves really felt that one. Really did. So seem to understand that. And that makes sense because Omni-Man explained his body got taxed by trying to do so much after the drag battle. I definitely agree that the planetary downplay is weird, and if it got like super spicy, I'd probably bring out crossover. We're not doing that in this video. But yeah, I do feel like his AP is a lot safer than people give credit for. His AP doesn't inherently mean durability. It doesn't.
Yeah. A lot of these civilizations, they found it really hard to even get one aspect of the smart atoms into their technology, but it says that only the Viltrumites like mastered a lot of them and can use it with their DNA. And with these smart atoms, you know, their atoms can retain their structure even while they're like really crazy heat or really like crazy temperatures. And
It's your lucky day.
It's logical that, you know, Mars or Nova like they could survive on like a star, right? But if they're fighting at the same time, that is gonna not go out well for them. So even though they have really crazy resistance, they do have a limit to how much abuse they can put their cells through.
And it's different layers of abuse. Literally on his back is the heat of a sun, and in his front is Planet Plus busting power. That's like his body literally dealing with multiple potentially threatening, like life-threatening events. And so it just seemed to me that the body just gets overtaxed. So yeah, I think that's what led to the downplay.
Now there is some higher scaling. One of these is Omnipotus, who I thought was a pretty cool character. The guidebooks in the series, they call him like a world shaper or like a world eater, even like a dimensional eater or destroyer. And the handbooks do imply that this guy can like wipe out a universe or even, you know, pretty much just spread reality however he sees fit. It actually states that one of his feats was like destroying a star system, but it does say it was like through a chain reaction. So Omnipotus, like, he is kind of weird to scale because he was killed off red dinosaur dude, who actually failed above conflict. And Omnipotus, like, he was like he killed like all of the world heroes, and these heroes were able to like defeat these alternate versions of Invincible. They have like a multiplayer element for, you know, how much more powerful these guys got after getting called on. Fire I found is that there are like these Reanigan, which are like these like really sketchy like in front of dead people. Cecil had like these Reanigan made from those Invincibles, and although obviously they wouldn't be able to fight at the full extent of an Invincible, they should have relative like strength and like speed level. And in the handbook, it is stated that even just like the normal Reanimen have like their endurance and reaction times amplified by 10 times. So if you want to apply that to the Invincibles as well, we do see Mark and Dinosaurus like fend off all of these Invincibles as they basically, you know, leave them there, and they could have likely killed all of them as say that like a post built from war Invincible and, you know, who Omni-Man became more powerful than at the end of the series, scales above all of these Invincibles. And it's not far-fetched that they would have gotten a boost in a way because, I mean, we also saw, like, Battle Beast and Alan, like, recover and become more powerful the next time. So I think that going by these examples, I think personally that they would get a multiplier of after a while.
Look, everyone, as the guy known for Dragon Ball, I'm gonna speak on my story. Just kidding, but I have seen a lot lately and I did love his intro arc, so I will be talking about his intro. Now, when he first initially landed on Earth, he was sent there as a part of the Saiyan race that is sent out to dominate the cosmos. That's what they do, dominate warrior class. The problem was, upon landing, it didn't go well. Goku hit his damn head, and when he did, he lost that Saiyan inherent violent dominance to take over, but he still had his love for martial arts and combat. Grew up on Earth, become one of the most world-renowned martial artists, and eventually, all of this would lead to him being by his own people, the Saiyans who came to Earth, checking up, known as Kakarot to him, but known to Earth as Goku. And then being pitted against his own kind, Goku made a choice to defend his current home, Earth, the family he started, ends up dying in the process, jobbing to Raditz super hard, but this, of course, leads to a massive training arc. He comes back to save his people from the rest of the Saiyans, which, of course, at that time, included Nappa and Vegeta. Eventually goes on to defeat Nappa. Nappa gets beat up and destroyed by Vegeta for being a flop. And then Goku engages Vegeta, proving he is worthy of being called a Saiyan warrior, which of course leads to Vegeta leaving, Goku taking time to get stronger, which goes into the Namek saga, in which famously almost everyone's favorite villain Frieza comes in, just being a hood rat. And we will speak on some
None shall defeat the god of thunder.
The Frieza arc for AP, but I do feel like a majority of the AP is still a threat even in the Saiyan arcs. And my reason for that is early on, he realized he messed up while training Gohan. Gohan was triggered and was a threat to destroy Earth in that phase. Phone battery and his damn health was like, yo, I'm blowing up Earth since you're a bitch. Yeah, I mean, even early on, Planet for Planet Plus was pretty damn consistent in the Saiyan saga and progresses massively after that due to training, due to Zenkais, and because of that, I truly do feel like even Saiyan saga
Yeah, for sure. We know how big those then you account that it took like 4 years basically it does kind of like, you know, shift like the influence of power in the space. And basically, you said, well, I mean, very the best as Jason instantly vaporizes the moon. Even before that, Roshi, even before he trained for like the other world tournaments, in his max power form was able to like wipe out the moon, right? And then there's a character named Tao Pai Pai who was like this exclusive, you know, high-ranking assassin. He basically fought to this Goku who was comparable, if not stronger than that Roshi, and he literally like didn't give a shit about his attacks. Goku then trains with a cat named Karin, and he basically is able to point blank like endure Tao Pai Pai's like energy attack, and Goku literally like crushes it with like his hand. So even before Goku becomes like a teenager, before he even fights the Saiyans, before he even fights the Saiyans, he's already like enduring a one level attack with his hand. Tommy, who's like, you know, the god of the earth, and these guys have hundreds of years of experience. Like, for 50 years, as Tommy on and off, and he's already like described as being like a, you know, martial arts master and like, you know, one of the best like human fighters in the series. Yet Goku is able to like quickly learn from that, you know, adapt, and to get the techniques he actually was able to learn the combination quickly. You know, use after images, which are basically like negative called basically Goku is so fast that it looks like there's several of him. And then once he trained under King Kai, a very good you know, thing that you found out yourself was that like King Kai said, yo, like training with me is like a few thousand training on Earth, right? So although Goku is not as old as Omni-Man, he doesn't have like the lifespan that he has. Within, you know, those 20 years, he was able to basically receive hundreds to thousands of years of training, even by like, you know, really crazy athletes.
Omni-Man, I think one of the more impressive species that needs to be discussed is how far he traveled to get to where he needed to be in order to, you know, establish a new place to live. So they do acknowledge in the series that there are planets outside of the star system that are habitable. With only one brain, which is like at max a week, he flew out of the star system and found a habitable planet. And he didn't seem entirely pressed when he found it. Like, he looked like he was just casually holding his breath, happened upon it. He did say he got lucky, but when he said he got lucky, he was talking about there's just not many living habitable planets in the universe. Like, you do have to get lucky. And even without that, the weaker Alan I mentioned was noted as having entirely traveled across solar systems in no time at all. And he's supposed to, with his job, be able to like navigate the cosmos of the universe, so it makes sense he's that fast anyway. And he said a way weaker version of Omni-Man probably at the end would have like casually blitzed him one shot.
So I'm not gonna lie, for Goku, the speed part is gonna be troubling for him because, I mean, he should easily be faster than like even like in early Dragon Ball Z. You can argue for that, at least relativistic. We do know that Roshi's attack was able to vaporize the moon pretty quickly, pretty much instantly. You know, it would still be relativistic or, you know, something. And we know that as characters become more powerful, their speed also increases in vast majority of cases.
That did it. Theo, work your
we see
magic.
Goku reacting to dodging and outright like tanking these energy attacks that would logically be stronger and faster than Roshi's attack that was used to, you know, wipe out the moon. And when Goku fought against Frieza, even before he had Super Saiyan, he was able to like escape the very instant that Frieza's paralyzing energy attack actually exploded. So even within the smallest opening, Goku can't find a way to escape, you know, out of these attacks. Yeah, but apart from that, if we exclude filler, which actually has some pretty crazy in it, there really isn't a way to get Goku to like Omni-Man speed. Like, I just don't see it. Like, you could maybe say he's like hundreds, thousands of times FTL, maybe even millions. But even if we highball it that much, it's still not gonna look good for him because we don't get specifics in the comics or the series, but we do in the handbook. And they say that the planet that Omni-Man reached, which was like the Mantis race planet, where he, you know, he got busy with the Mantis chick, you know, and you know, he
laid the official pipe of the Viltrumites.
That one is said to be in the Virgo supercluster galaxy. It's said to be about 65 million light years away from Earth. And if he did that like within a week, right, so 6 to 7 days, that can be calculated to being like 3.3 billion times the speed of light. And keep in mind, this is while he's mostly pretty casual. This is very early on in the series. When you analyze Omni-Man's speed, you can easily be tens to hundreds of billions of times faster than light. Now, someone might say, oh, well, but travel speed is not combat speed, right? However, Alan himself, like, it is stated that his reaction times and combat reflexes are proportional to the speed that he can use, like, while, you know, he's just traveling normally. And Omni-Man and other characters have fought him, so they would logically scale to that as well. And another distinction is that the handbook also says that Viltrumites are fast enough to rival, if not even surpass, the speed of these spaceships, which are stated to be superluminal or faster than light. And a good example of this was when Mark was freaking the hell out that he was trying to get to Earth before like the Viltrumites came to conquer it, and he thought that flying there would be faster than waiting in space, right? So it is very clear that their reaction times and combat speed would be, comparable to their travel speed. So, and the thing that I really like about Dragon Ball is that they really emphasize
Every member of the elite
how
team must be
small of a gap
defeated.
can affect the battle. Because after Vegeta got his ass whooped on Earth, he recovered and got more powerful. And he faced off against this guy named Kiwi, who like Splash really had a lot of expectations for, but it failed them. And the difference between these two characters was like 1.1 times, and Vegeta was able to outright speedblitz him and literally made him.
Yeah, he saw homeboy Vegeta go up by like 1%, and he was like, I'm dead. Like, Kiwi, come on. But yeah, it's like, I don't have a problem with that. I feel like a lot of people might think that's silly, but think about it. Someone is throwing energy 100 miles per hour, and then they just throw it like, that big enough difference is the difference between hitting a ball and by a damn girl, Even those shifts and things, it's still crazy, especially when you throw it like 10 times as yeah, the way they go up is just so crazy.
I don't know, I think like the difference is like really like critical and a lot more significant in Dragon Ball than it is in Pokemon, because even though Dragon scaled and
Team are no longer a
might
threat.
have faster,
All I do is blend. We need to take control of their systems.
literally couldn't
Get me to the location on your HUD.
in the battle against Frieza, like, these characters are so fast. Like, base Goku and heavily suppressed Frieza were fighting so fast that Piccolo, who was not that much bigger than both of them, was like, these guys are gods. I can't even keep up with what they're doing. In essence, I believe that Omni-Man just clearly has a speed advantage. I don't think that's really, like, up to debate. I think it's pretty obvious. If we do use filler from Dragon Ball Z, maybe it could, swing in Goku's favor somehow. Where King Kai has no trouble locating and tracking Goku's spaceship, which he used to get to Namek in a couple of days, which is literally halfway across the universe and likely billions of light years away. Yet he was like, yo, what the hell is going on? Like, I can't see them, when trying to track Goku and Frieza fighting.
Another big point for us to discuss is endurance and energy efficiency, and this is interesting because Omni-Man has shown, and this makes sense given his training, given his position he held with the Viltrumites, he has incredible efficiency with how he distributes his energy. He's straight to the point. One breath could literally power him for a week. It's literally his made beyond or other races can do. He's fought armies for hours. Fodder ones took Alan's planet for days. It was a days of a war and wiped them out. So even the fodder ones have stamina feats. Omni-Man should be able to fight at peak or around where he wants to fight, depending on who his opponent is, for several hours to, you could argue, days if he needed to. But he does have a pretty damn good gas tank on.
Alrighty, so for stamina, due to his smart atoms, Omni-Man is able to use his energy a lot more efficiently and longer than a Saiyan would with the same resource. That is not to say that Goku doesn't have good stamina, because, I don't recall him fighting someone for hours or days, but that is mostly because in majority of his battles he would finish the fight quickly or he would get his ass beat. And while he was on his way to Namek, he basically trained non-stop and, to the point of exhaustion, and then would go again the next day, pretty much. But I think an argument could be made that Goku would theoretically have a larger energy pool or stamina pool. If you want to go through like Dragon Ball standards, you know that he has more ki and therefore more power. But even if Omni-Man does have like a smaller energy pool, he would still be more efficient and would theoretically be able to fight and, you know, do whatever he needs to do longer than Goku would. All in all, I would have to give the edge of stamina to Omni-Man.
Look, I'm not trying to, you know, throw shade at my boy Goku, but I do know when he broke his legs against Vegeta, he had like so like I do think people mistake their toughness. Like Goku's, I told Chuck this off record. His toughness is crazy. Like they take earth-shattering blasts and eat it, but when they do get physically compromised to an extreme, like shattered bones, getting torn open, it's a completely different story. So it's like almost like once you get past the shell, you know, it's a problem. So I do think that aspect of the durability favors Omni-Man, because, oh my god, Viltrumites just get ripped open like pinatas for no reason. Like, it's ridiculous. Yeah, so the toughness in that aspect does favor Omni-Man, but that doesn't mean he's actually more resistant.
And if you have read or watched Invincible, you know that the show is really gory, really brutal, and the thing about these Viltrumites is that I would say they are a lot more resilient than Saiyans and vast majority of beings in, you know, Dragon Ball in terms of like how much damage and abuse they can take, because there are so many sequences where like these characters get like limbs torn off, bones broken, have their guts spilling everywhere, they are still fighting or are still conscious and they are still surviving. And literally, Omni-Man got like
bypassing that security will take some time. Keep the area clear, but stay in range of the control point.
Like somewhat, you know, alive. And I don't know, Viltrumites are damn crazy. Now, Thrag and Battle Beast, you know, they are a lot more powerful than, you know, Omni-Man and stuff like that. But I think their stamina gives us like a fair measure of what Omni-Man can do, and it's not far-fetched because you have characters getting like the part that, you know, having everything spilling out, yet they are still alive on the way, and actually been launched of the and the reason that I am bringing this up is that with Goku, although he does, you know, have really crazy resilience, he was able to stay alive for 6 hours upon fighting in that manner didn't really seem possible for him in that situation. But he has fought with broken bones and having like really nasty moves. But to say that he could fight as well with like having a limb cut off or, you know, having his guts going out, I don't think that's very probable. And obviously, like, you know, one would say, well, they can't really show stuff like that. But in the manga, I mean, we saw Goku getting like pierced through his chest by Moro, and yeah, obviously Moro is, you know, anyone in Invincible, but the degree of damage that he did to him, you know, which, you know, going by Invincible standards, a move like that is not that bad. And Goku pretty much passed the fuck out right then and there, so. And I think that Goku being superior in attack ability and durability makes sense. But when it comes to, like, being able to fight, like, you know, surviving after having these really nasty wounds, I would likely give that edge to Omni. Although Goku does have really nice resilience, I think Omni-Man just, I don't know, man, those guys can, you know, be burst open and bleeding everywhere, and somehow they stay alive.
Omni-Man bleeds more, bitch, that's for sure. But yeah, I would definitely say the Smart Atom's regen factor heavily favors, in my opinion, Omni-Man. Fight IQ, as far as being crafty and just knowing how to manipulate people and manipulate the battlefield, I do feel like that's a really good aspect of Omni-Man's game. Obviously, he has his physical hacks. He's very measured in the way that he distributes his power, so I'd say that's almost a hack in the fact that he has such good power control. Overall, I just think for hacks, he's a pretty simple brawler type superhuman. So there's nothing too crazy. But I do think when you blend that all with his experience, his skill, and his speed, as well, there is, like, I do remember in the guidebook it does state he actually does, like, quantum skip a little bit when he uses speed at a certain point because of his atoms, but that's not going to be much of a fighting influence. So overall, I do think his bag, while it's a little more simple than most, it is dangerous. Even if you argue that, like, Omni-Man's more experienced, let's say that led to him knowing more techniques, more moves, Goku could technically probably copy them if they were that much of a difference. I'm gonna be honest, I told Chuck this, like, even when I was reading through the Saiyan arc, I was like, Goku's versatility and the moves he's shown he's picked up already, like even with Tien's move I spoke on earlier, he has a lot of tricks that he could throw at Omni-Man that are actual threats.
After Goku trained with Kami, he got like so much more powerful and much better at martial arts. Because not only did he learn how to make himself so still that his presence was like, you know, really hard to detect, but he could also see like the depths of his like opponents, and even without seeing them, he could sense like what direction they were coming from and what attack they were gonna use. So, you know, I think it is very reasonable to say that Goku has a lot of aces up his sleeve. Okay, so what do you think about the, you know, possible win condition, you know, or the argument that what if Goku drops his guard? What if Omni-Man tries to do talk no jutsu and be like, hey bro, don't kill me, like we're cool, like I have a family or whatever, right? Do you think that Goku would, you know, let his guard down and allow Omni-Man to get a really good hit in, or do you think that Goku would be like, nah, like I'm not falling for that slick move?
I felt like after considering it, it was just a little weird to favor that because Goku got tricked by Raditz, but he literally just found out Raditz was actually his brother. So there's a heavy personal connection there that led to a stupid decision. Was it a horrible decision? Yeah, absolutely. But stupid stuff like letting Vegeta go after they fought actually makes sense because both of them share the warrior tradition and they would honor that. Like Goku just knew that, given their tendencies. That's not going to happen with Omni-Man. That's not another Saiyan. It's just a dude looking to kill him and probably wipe out his planet. I don't know, I just don't feel like because there's no prep before this, they don't know each other. I don't know what Omni-Man would say in the clutch to make Goku drop his guard. I just don't. So I don't favor that win condition as much as I would favor Goku, who literally trains to fight characters so fast he can't see them, like he has to sense them. I definitely think he can get a shot on him and hit Omni-Man. And I think Omni-Man's in trouble if he gets hit by Goku at that point. And Goku is willing to kill him. And I believe Omni-Man's a daunting enough opponent and like a sinister enough opponent when fighting that Goku would be like, okay, it's me or you. You gotta go. And he did that with Nappa and Vegeta. He literally told them, hey, look, you have no mercy. I'm not gonna give you any sympathy.
Good night.
I feel like he would go that way against Omni-Man. I don't see Omni-Man go like just saying anything that makes sense to make Goku stop. Early on, Goku literally explained to Gohan how he uses his almost precog, and states he literally senses the shift of power, sense of direction, and just anticipates instead of having to match their speed. So he's had that technique for a long ass time. Like he's always been that way. That's why, like, you can literally see on his face him being surprised by speed and still reacting. Like, he reacted at one point to, I believe it was Vegeta. He dropped down and he said, damn, he's blitzing me, I can't react to him. But he just did. We are considering this narrative as, like, Omni-Man's on his knees making an appeal to save his life. I'm not convinced at that point that's even happening, because that means Goku hit his bitch ass multiple times with really strong attacks. And I don't know if at that point he would even be strong enough. Because he's not lasering Goku. He's not hitting him with something that's piercing. He's punching him, you know? I don't see a punch landing from a weakened on his knees, trying to be manipulative Omni-Man. I don't see that having enough power to just one-shot Goku.
One thing I'd like to mention is that this battle could have, you know, taken a much more complicated and lengthier turn if we included, like, the crossovers, because Omni-Man does scale pretty highly if we use those, like, to a T, you know? And even before we get to, like, the end of the series, like, there's, like, these Invincibles that come, like, in the Invincible War event, and one of them claimed that he had killed Spawn before. Now, I don't really know that much about Spawn, but I have heard that he has beaten, like, Universal or, like, multiversal gods, you know? So, you know, an early Invincible beat him, and then Omni-Man got that much more powerful, and then you have Omnipotus, who scales to multiple Invincibles that possibly scale to that Invincible that killed that Spawn, then you could unironically scale Omni-Man to being, like, as powerful as several Spawns. You know, if you want to take that literally, though.
If we brought up in this battle, hey, also, like, Invincible, who didn't scale to Omni-Man, beat Spawn, comic fans would shit themselves. They'd be like, why is this a fight? So, like, yeah, we definitely didn't want to bring in the crossover stuff just because there's a lot of power implications from W's he got off crossovers.
So I just think about that. And also, Omni-Man also fought this dude named Supreme, who is kind of like, he's basically like a more insane Omni-Man. I don't know all of his feats, but he does have universe level stuff. I believe he, like, survived, like, his own, like, reality being destroyed, and I think Suprema, who's, like, comparable to him, like, lifted, like, a universe as well.
It just, honestly, we were putting them side by side, and this was the first, like, I would say, stop with both characters where they met, where we were like, this is actually really interesting. And so that's why we stuck with this. These were the first forms that we found to be, like, the most congruent early on, and we wanted to run that through. If you like this matchup, maybe we'll explore stronger ones down the road. But yeah, this one, yeah, and we also thought it was dope to think of a scenario where, like, instead of Vegeta coming in, it's Omni-Man. Because Omni-Man is a dominator like Vegeta was. And just having him slug it out like Saiyan Saga or Namek Saga. In the end...
It doesn't even matter.
Just based on... Oh my god, was that a Linkin Park bar?
Yeah.
Oh no! I didn't catch that. Usually I'm the bar god. But, yeah, like, all seriousness, I wasn't able to get over a few things for Omni-Man in this matchup to help him out. I didn't feel like his win conditions helped him enough. I trust Goku in this particular matchup way more to get the job done because of his versatility, the types of attacks at his disposal. He has more range, and he hits way harder. But in the end, I favor, probably mid-diff in this scenario, Goku.
Hey yo fellas, I just wanted to say thanks to Rich for sponsoring this video. They have lightweight, high-grade products such as their trademark wallets with amazing durability that come with a lifetime warranty that you can carry for life. Most people nowadays still use old boomer-style wallets that get clunky and become harder to keep organized as time goes on. But these wallets are designed to fit really easily into your pocket. It comes in over 30 colors like red, blue, carbon fiber, burnt titanium, and so on. I personally picked gunmetal because it looks really classy and I really love how it feels overall. It can hold up to 12 cards with extra room for cash, and it comes with an RFID protection against those people that may want to jack your information. The Rich team is so confident that you'll love it, that you can try it out for 45 days and get a full refund if you are not satisfied. Chances are, though, that you will enjoy it given that they have over 30,000 5-star reviews. If you're interested and you want to help the channel out, you can get 10% off your purchase right now with free worldwide shipping and returns by going on rich.com/ChuckTCC and use my code ChuckTCC in all caps. The link will be in the description below. Thanks, and let's get right back to the video. Oh, yo, since you were talking about, like, the whole Saiyan Saga AP, being a challenge for Omni-Man, we didn't really talk about Saiyan Saga Goku, because it seems like we came to the agreement that the Namek Saga one would be more fitting to the battle. But for those wondering, what if Saiyan Saga Goku fought him instead? I think Goku's attacks would still, heavily hurt, maybe even kill Omni-Man. But I think that because his durability and speed wouldn't be as high as it was in the Namek Saga, Omni-Man would be able to come out on top because he's a lot more competitive in that matchup. We had a lot of, stuff to read and go over, but, thanks for working on this with me. I do appreciate it. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Again, I would highly recommend reading Invincible. It's a pretty good series.
Yeah, but let me know if you guys want me to cover other Invincible characters. I was thinking of doing like a ranking list because there's actually really nice scaling within the series as well. Maybe we could do something with Thrag or stuff like that. And if you guys want to see Battle Beast, yeah, yo, Battle Beast is a monster, bro. But if you guys want to see like a video on Thrag or Omni-Man, like a composite one, if we include like the Spawn stuff and Supreme and stuff like that, let us know. It could be like a standalone video, or it could be like Omni-Man against like a stronger version of Goku or something like that. But I don't know, just throwing some stuff out there. Thank you very much for watching. I'm very sorry for not uploading. I'm a lazy bitch. But yeah, thanks again, and check out YFV, your favorite villain. He does a lot of stuff. He's actually been branching out to a lot more anime stuff. He does comics, and yeah, he knows a lot more stuff than I do. So check him out, and yeah, subscribe to us both, and we'll catch you thoughties next time. Peace out. Road to 10K, baby. Help me out.
In New York, I've been there up. I didn't know myself fall. Where I'm from, I'm up. And I show that and I'm on the floor.
In a story post-Dragon Ball Super Moro, Goku has since relished in the peace of the universe after the battle, but 3 years have gone by since the Moro disaster, and in that time, Goku has found himself on planet Vampa much more than usual as he goes and trains with Broly, turning him into a calculated martial artist now. This is an original fan-written story called Dragon Ball Super Broly vs. Jiren by Monty Jarman, and takes place in the more peaceful times post-Dragon Ball Super. With Goku having ascended Ultra Instinct and all the training he's done in this time, in a one-on-one battle he would have surpassed Broly at this point, who was unusually more powerful than him prior, even as a Super Saiyan Blue. While Goku's goal was to train Broly and make him an incredibly strong sparring partner, the same training tactics day in and day out are sure to get boring eventually, and it's pretty much what happens to Goku as our story begins amidst planet Vampa. If you haven't already, be sure to have those notifications turned on to never miss an upload as soon as they go live. And if you've been enjoying all of the loads of anime content recently, consider leaving a like on this video as well. It really helps out a ton. Be sure to follow on both Twitch and Twitter to stay up with me and all anime related content. Without further ado, for the first time in years, we find ourselves scoping the landscape of none other than planet Vampa, a planet that only 3 people call their home. Thunderous impacts are heard in the distance as it sounds like a lightning storm is roaring. However, as we move closer, we see Goku in his Super Saiyan God form get absolutely decked in the face and sent flying through a cliff. As he gets back to his feet and looks into the distance, we can see his opponent is none other than Broly in his Wrath form, who's hoarding yet another attack for Goku as they spar on. Broly launches his attack at a blinding speed, and as it nears Goku, he seems like he won't be able to dodge it in time as it closes in. "This is amazing," he says as he raises his arm to shield himself. "His battle power has increased a lot. If I'm not careful, this could be trouble." The blast makes a direct hit on Goku as an explosion erupts across the battlefield. Broly looks on, knowing that this would never be enough to defeat Goku as he anxiously awaits his next move. Goku bursts from the smoke at full speed, now in his Super Saiyan Blue form, as he charges at Broly, who looks to meet him head on. As Goku throws a punch, Broly does as well, as a devastating shockwave is about to be unleashed on the planet, but then, "That's quite enough," a voice says right before they make impact. Both Broly and Goku's attacks have been stopped with a single finger, as we see Whis of all people has appeared before them now. "That was much too intense to be just a regular sparring match," Whis says, as they both power back down to their base forms. "Are you two trying to destroy the very planet we're on?" "Sorry, Whis," Goku replies, smiling ear to ear. "You know how excited I get when I fight really strong guys." However, Whis continues, "Broly's power has increased dramatically since the last time he fought on Earth. I'm impressed with his growth." This is when an idea springs in Goku's head, as he says, "Hey," grabbing everyone's attention. It wouldn't be fair if Broly just fights me all the time, he goes on. There's so many strong fighters in the universe. I wonder how he'll fare against someone like, say, Jiren. Goku's bright idea seems to be to set Broly up in some type of exhibition match against Jiren now, in order to test just how much he's actually grown, since it's kind of hard to see that by fighting the same person all the time. Oh, yeah, Whis agrees. That would be an interesting choice indeed. The two Lord Zenos have been pretty bored since the ending of the Tournament of Power, so this could be very exciting for the two of them. Wow, Goku exclaims, getting excited all over again. I can imagine both Jiren and Broly in the same tournament. It gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. The possibilities are just endless. Says who? A voice yells over all the commotion from nearby. Who said anything about a tournament? Chile says after arriving with Nemo. You're forgetting that I only allowed you to train with Broly. Do you take me for a fool, Goku? Both Goku and Broly freeze up at the surprise interruption as Goku begins to stutter, but this is when Whis cuts in. Apparently Broly is a big boy, he says snarkishly, so he's old enough to make his own decisions. Well, Broly, Goku asks, looking at him now, do you want to join or no? Broly ponders Goku's offer, but only momentarily as he eventually shakes his head in agreement. Great, Goku says excitedly. Now all that's left is Jiren's answer. He places his finger to his forehead as he begins to track Jiren's key. Convincing Jiren won't be a picnic, he says. Now, if only I could get a lock on it. Found you, he says, finally detecting Jiren's energy somewhere in the far-off realms of the 11th universe. Wish me luck, guys, he says, as in a flash, Goku's instant transmission warps him across the universe. Somewhere far off in the regions of Universe 11 stands Jiren, alone on a heap of planet in the middle of space. As Jiren meditates, he too recognizes the rapidly approaching Ki. What brings you here, he says, finally breaking the silence. He turns around and is confronted by his former opponent, Goku. It's been a while, Jiren, Goku says, greeting him. Have you been training? Obviously you didn't come all the way here just to start a conversation with me, Jiren says, short of patience. So get straight to the point. This is when Goku goes on to tell him that he knows this person that's really, really strong and that they've been training together like crazy lately. But I'm anxious to know what his full capabilities are, Goku continues. Jiren seems unmoved so far, but continues to listen. His name is Broly, Goku says, and he's a Saiyan just like me. I want to know if you're down to have a fight with him in a tournament setting. Jiren glares at Goku suspiciously, who is preparing for the worst. Jiren turns back around as he answers, your offer is tempting, Goku, but I'll have to decline. I was afraid you'd say no, Goku says, hanging his head. Jiren pauses for a brief moment and then says, I do still owe you one from the tournament, however. We wouldn't be here right now if it weren't for your universe's wish. I'm more than grateful. You don't owe me anything, Goku replies. I just like fighting strong people. Jiren smirks at the sound of this, and this is when he goes on to say, if you really want to hear my answer, Goku, then my answer is yes, as he agrees to the dream match against Broly. Really, Goku says happily? Thanks, Jiren. All the info about the tournament will be out soon enough, so until then, just train and I'll worry about training Broly. See you at the tournament, Goku says as he excitedly heads back to Universe 7 to share the news. Train all you like, Jiren says, showing a confident smile on his face. I won't be holding back either. And then the next episode of Dragon Ball Super Broly vs. Jiren, the day of the tournament arrives. In a similar setting to the Universe 6 vs. 7 tournament, lay the arena for the next multiversal Shin Budokai, with the main event being Broly and Jiren. All of the spectators have arrived as we see the Universe 7 crowd of Chile, Beerus, Whis, and Goku, followed by Universe 11 with Belmont and Margarita. In the arena stands the two combatants, Broly toe-to-toe with Jiren the Grey, glaring at each other pretty menacingly. Sorry to keep you all waiting, the Grand Priest says, appearing in the sky above them. You two seem to be the only participants in attendance. The Lord of Everything is about to appear, so please show them your utmost respect. The two Lord Zenos then arrive with their guards, greeting everyone gathered there today, as Chile is more overtaken with how cute they are than their standing and power, causing Beerus to bark at her in fear of her upsetting them. The tournament will begin momentarily, the Grand Prix announces. I will now present both fighters on stage. The pride of Universe 11, Jiren the Grey, up against one of the sole survivors of the Saiyan race, Planet Vampa's Broly. I'll explain the rules once more, the Grand Prix goes on. There will be approximately 125 tags to decide the winner. Hopefully that's enough, but it may be wavered if Zeno-sama calls for it. 125 tags? Goku curiously says, to which Whis answers, converts to about 1 hour Earth time. This tournament, however, the Grand Prix announces, will now turn into a death match. The winner will be granted a wish from the Super Dragon Balls. This is when the expression changes though. However, he goes on, the loser will cease to exist immediately. So much so that the Super Dragon Balls will have no effect on the outcome. This stands as a shock to both Broly and Jiren, who thought they were just agreeing to an exhibition match, but now that Zeno is here, there's no turning back. Well then, are you ready? The Grand Prix asked. All around the stadium, Belmont, Chile, and the others are all rooting for their fighter. However, even given the stakes, Goku just seems more excited than anything, as the Grand Prix then begins the battle. Jiren beckons for Broly to come give it his best shot, to which Broly obliges, immediately going into his wrath state and charging at Jiren. His first attack looks to hit Jiren head on, doesn't even budge at first, and as Broly's punch nears, he dodges it with swift ease. The two go back and forth, with Broly giving it everything he has. However, Jiren is reading him like a book and countering all of his attacks. As they come to a stalemate again, Jiren seems disappointed as he asks Broly, "Is this the best you're capable of?" Broly immediately opens his mouth to reveal an energy wave being prepared, to the shock of Jiren, who didn't expect such an attack. As the blast obliterates a portion of the stadium, it beams in his face before exploding, with everyone looking on in amazement at the level these two are fighting at. Jiren has taken the blast head on though, and it looks like it was relatively ineffective, as Goku can't believe that he doesn't even have a scratch on him. Saiyan Warrior, is that the best you got? Jiren asks, as Broly charges at him again. If so, then you leave me no choice. As Broly throws his next punch, Jiren ducks under it, but this time, instead of evading, he counterattacks at a speed Broly is unable to react to. With this double strike fist attack, Jiren has done devastating damage to Broly without so much as a mark on him, as Chile's eyes grow wide in shock at what they see next. With enough force, Jiren's strike penetrates deep into Broly's torso, and the result is this. This attack aims to damage the internal organs, leaving the surface untouched. Broly nearly blacks out from pain as he's brought to the ground by a single strike from Jiren. As he reverts to his base form, Broly collapses at Jiren's feet, to the shock of everyone in the crowd, assuming the worst now. "Stand up right now, Broly," Chile yells from the stands. "Would you really show yourself like this in front of your wife?" Broly struggles to regain himself, however the damage has already been done. "Let's not beat around the bush here," Jiren says, standing over him, preparing one final attack. "It's time that I end this." If I really die here, Broly thinks to himself in these final moments, who will protect Planet Vampa? Who will look after... But Jiren has his set sights on finishing this battle as he releases his final attack. All of a sudden, Broly erupts in rage as his power explodes across the battlefield, remembering just what and who he's fighting for now. Jiren is taken aback by this drastic change all of a sudden, as Broly's power erupts into the sky, getting bigger by the second. As Jiren backs off to watch what's going on with Broly, his expression becomes increasingly intense after seeing his transformation. Broly has undergone that exact same dreadful Super Saiyan form that he used against Gogeta. Jiren is shocked at this extreme transformation and frighteningly steep power increase, as Goku recognizes that this is no longer a sparring match. Things have taken a turn for the worse because Broly still hasn't mastered that form. What could have triggered this, Goku thinks to himself. "Well, what do you think, my lord?" Whis asks, as Beerus has never seen Broly like this before. Beerus's jaw drops as he exclaims, This Saiyan's power, could it be that he's stronger than all of the gods of destructions?" Beerus stutters. With this reaction, it almost seems as if this was sort of what Beerus was hoping for when he first started searching for the Super Saiyan God, but that is another story. Jiren looks to be at a loss now as to how to approach this battle, but Belmont roars at him to quit daydreaming and hurry up and get serious. Jiren begins to power up as well as he tells Broly, "Since you've shown me your true power, things are finally becoming interesting." After powering up, he charges at Broly, now on the offensive, but Broly just stands there. As Jiren puts everything he has into this next punch, he hits Broly square in the face, but it does nothing. Jiren is stunned, but before he can react, Broly lunges, grabbing Jiren by the face, and then slams him into the ground with brutal power, shattering a portion of the stadium along the way. Jiren struggles to break his grip, but this is when Broly releases him and leaps into the sky, then in one monstrous dive, soars into the stadium and Jiren with a crushing punch that destroys half the stadium and stuns Jiren to his core. Due to Broly's transformation into his sort of rage Super Saiyan, I guess, he was able to regenerate all of the damage from Jiren's last attack, killing him completely along with this massive power-up. As Jiren is sent soaring across the arena, Goku's jaw drops at just how truly powerful Broly actually is when pushed to his limits. "Unreal," he says. Could Broly's power really be that far beyond Jiren's? This is when Belmont gets to his feet and begins screaming at Jiren, reminding him what losing this battle here will mean. "Everything that you stand for will die here along with you," he shouts angrily. "Do you really want that?" "All that I stand for," Jiren says, struggling to get back to his feet. "As long as I have Universe 11 by my side in spirit, I couldn't possibly lose to anyone," he roars, as Jiren's power explodes as well. Broly is the one taken aback this time, as Jiren's transformation has completely changed him as well. Both fighters glare at each other as their full powers are at their maximum now. Broly's rage continues as he roars and then charges at Jiren, with Jiren doing the same, and as the two clash fists for the first time at their full power, the chapter ends with a crack in reality beginning to surface from just a single collision. The collision sets off a piercing shockwave from the intense amounts of power these two possess. The spectators all have to be shielded by the angels or be completely obliterated by the force of these two attacks. What incredible energy, Goku struggles to say as the force of the shockwave threatens to sweep him away as well. "I'm not sure if my body can take it." As the blinding light begins to disappear, Goku has to undergo even his Super Saiyan blue form just to withstand the shockwave, but when he returns to the battlefield, he notices that the entire stage has been destroyed in the outcome. What's even more concerning, he says to himself as he powers back down, is that their ki is untraceable now. Could it be that they're both dead? That's unlikely to be the case, a voice says from behind him. He turns around to find Whis currently protecting the other spectators as Whis goes on to tell him that, to put it in simplest terms, they're currently fighting in another dimension. This causes both Goku and Chile to freak out, as anything can happen now with those two going full force. The Grand Priest cuts in to explain that both of their powers were so great that their collision broke the boundaries of this realm, thus transporting them to another dimension in the process. The two Zenos begin to become upset as they ask how they're supposed to watch the fight now, and how exciting it was just starting to get. "No worries, my lord," the Grand Priest replies, and then he raises his hand into the air and creates a giant clear orb in the sky. "It's enormous," Goku comments as the rest look on in anticipation. "We can watch the match in this massive orb," the Grand Priest says. "No matter how far they may go, this tournament is still in session." "There are still 95 attacks left," he explains, as we begin to cut into the new dimension Broly and Jiren are fighting in. Time is not on their side. Anything can happen in the blink of an eye, as we now cut to Jiren, whose intense glares batters Broly with an overwhelming swarm of attacks. Broly doesn't let up, however, as Jiren's attack pummels him, but this is when Jiren ducks under him, pushing himself off the ground and sticks both of his feet squarely to Broly's face. To finish him off, Jiren launches Energy Blast from the base of his feet directly in Broly's face, sending him soaring until he smacks into sort of a wall encasing the dimension, and it begins to shatter. Jiren doesn't ease up for a second, however, and charges at Broly, assuming him to be incapacitated, but Broly's eyes rip open with rage, almost freezing Jiren in his tracks. He punches an incoming Jiren with a fresh burst of power, and as Jiren stands stunned from the power behind his punch, Broly lets off another Energy Blast. Jiren, with incredible speed, is able to dodge the point-blank attack as he flies into the sky above. As he soars above Broly, Jiren releases a counter beam of his own directly below him at Broly, who doesn't look like he plans on dodging at all. Broly releases a mouth beam in order to clash with Jiren's attack, and the two blasts collide, illuminating this entire side of the galaxy. As the beam clash continues to grow bigger, Goku is stunned at just how truly powerful these two are today, with the both of them going their absolute hardest right now. Both Broly and Jiren expended incredible amounts of power as their beams collide, but eventually, the attacks do die down, leaving the two evenly matched once again after a huge explosion goes off. As the two fly across from each other, Jiren, for the first time, praises Broly on his skill. Impressive, he goes on. Not only that you're adapting quickly, but your power is as well. It's hard to believe Son Goku trained you. He was being consumed by his rage and ever-increasing power. Jiren enters a